Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be creating a beautiful, very clean and simple card, and we will be offsetting our stamping today. I am using the two-step simple leaf stamp set which was part of the Simon Says Stamp October 2024 card kit. I have a video where I have unboxed this card kit and I will leave a link to that in the description box down below. Usually, when I say clean and simple, I like to have a lot of perfection on my card. But this is one way where you can just let go of all those perfections and you are coloring outside the lines. Now, here you'll see in the close up pictures how the colors don't match with the outside margin. And that is exactly what we need for our project today. I have two cards where one I will be creating a card with a focal point, and on the next card we will be creating a beautiful background. Now here's a look at the two-step simple leaves stamp set, which is a layering set that features a variety of simple leaf shapes. Now each of these leaves has coordinating second layer to stamp the veins, stem and the outlines, thereby allowing an added depth and detail to our nature theme card. Now, this also includes some beautiful font sentiments that are like thank you, thankful for you, just saying hi, so very grateful, heartfelt thanks, and you're in my thoughts. Now, the card kit also includes this coordinating stencil. So, if you're not up to stamping the solid image, you could very well use this coordinating stencil to create a beautiful background. Now, in my projects today, I will be showing you both the techniques where in my first card, I will be stamping the solid image and then using the outline. And in the second card, I will be using the stencil and then stamping the outline. Let's get started with our first card for today. Here I have an A2 size panel which will measure slightly smaller than an A2 size card. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Now I am placing this solid outline image onto the center of the card. This will be the focal point of our card today. For this card, I will be using just one of this image and stamping it using the Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink in this shade Sage. I love this very subtle green look and I am really happy how this turned out. I love the formulation of these positively saturated inks. They dry very subtle and it's not as dark as it's shown here. Now, once I was happy with my stamping, I went on to stamp the outline image. Now, initially I thought it would be very easy to just offset the stamp and stamp the outline image, but trust me, it does take some patience. And I wanted, even though I told previously that we are not looking for perfection, I kind of required a little bit of perfection and didn't want to offset the stamp quite a bit. So I used a acetate sheet initially to see if the positioning of that outline stamp was proper enough, and then I used my VersaFine Onyx black ink to stamp the outline image. Once I was done with that, I used the Thankful for You sentiment from the same stamp set and stamped it right below our floral image. Now that we just have this focal point, I decided to add some splatters. Well, very light-handedly, I will be adding some black splatters here. I'm fine if those splatters fall on my leaf, but I wanted to be careful not to add those splatters over the sentiment. Well, you could also cover the sentiment using a piece of post-it tape or sticky note or any kind of scrap piece of cardstock so that you could protect that sentiment. I let the panel completely dry, and here's a closer look at how beautiful those platters look. Well, this is a very clean and simple look and I'm absolutely loving this. I decided not to add any dimension to this card and keep it as simple as I can. So I'm using some double-sided tape to adhere this panel onto an A2 size top folding green color note card. Now, well, since there is no foam tape or any added dimension, I thought why not use some gemstones. I used the Simon Says Stamp Positively Dazzling Gems in the pastel tones. Now, this was also part of the card kit. I absolutely love these gemstones, and the green in this I feel matches perfectly with our leaf and the card base. Here's a closer look at the card that we created today. Take a look at that beautiful shiny gemstones. I'm sure I would be mass producing this card in a bunch of different colors. Moving on to card number 2, here I will be creating a background using those beautiful leaves. But first, I will be stamping my sentiment. I like to use the Simon Says Stamp Grid transparency sheet whenever I'm trying to line up my sentiments. Now, for the sentiment, again, I use the Thankful for You sentiment from the same two-step simple leaves stamp set. Now, unlike the previous project where I used the solid stamps, here I will be using the stencil instead. Now, this is a coordinating stencil which has all of those leaves that are there on the stamp set. So here, instead of stamping the solid image, I will stamp the, ink blend on the stencil. Now, for the first leaf, I used blush, which is a beautiful orange color. Then I have sweets. Next is surf. Now I love this beautiful, I wanted a very colorful background, so I chose a lot of different colors. Non-traditional, I was not looking for specific fall colors or holiday colors. I just wanted it to be very colorful. So whatever I found to be bright and cheerful, I used for this card background. Next, I used twilight, and I also have lilac and latte. I absolutely love how this card turned out, and the background looks absolutely amazing. Once I was done with the ink blending, I removed this panel and placed it onto my stamping tool where I can stamp the outline images. Now you will see that in the end there is another leaf on top of this blush leaf. I thought that space remained and looked quite empty, so I went ahead and used my lilac ink to ink blend, and again used the outline stamp, and using VersaFine Onyx black ink, I offset the stamp and I stamped all of these images, and absolutely beautiful. Now, if you don't have this coordinating stencil, you could very well use the solid stamps in the stamp set and create your own beautiful background using so many different color combinations. I think it would also be super fun to try this in a monochromatic color layout, maybe using just pinks or purples or greens. And I think it would create absolutely beautiful backgrounds, just like we did in our first card. I will be using some black watercolor ink to add splatters. Now here you will see I covered my sentiment with a scrap piece of that post-it note that will protect my sentiment from all those splatters, and I can freely splatter all around the background. I am okay if those splatters fall on these colored leaves. Once the panel was absolutely dry, I used my double-sided tape to adhere this panel onto a brown color top folding note card. Now, since this is a colored card base, I also like to use something for the inside of the card. So here I am adhering a panel of white cardstock on the inside of the cards. I do have some leaves stamped there, and I also have coordinating envelopes. Here's a closer look at this card. Now, for this card, I did not add any sequin mix or gemstones. I thought that the splatters were enough. So here are two different cards, one where I have a focal point and the other where I created my own background, both of which I have offset, and in one I have used those beautiful gemstones. I love how both of these cards turned out, not just thank you or grateful cards. These would be perfect for so many different occasions. These would, I think, be perfect even for a thinking of you or even a sympathy card. There are so many things that you could do with this beautiful stamp set and stencil combo. Well, Simon Says Stamp also has coordinating dies for this, which was not included in the kit but can be bought separately. Well, I hope you had fun watching the video as much as I did creating the video. I do plan on mass producing this card using different color combinations, and I will be sharing that on my Instagram profile. So I would love for you to visit my Instagram page and drop me a comment there. Also, I will leave a link down in the description box below for all the supplies that I've used in this card projects. Now, all of these links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using my link, I get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.